Welcome back to Blam Blam Truckers. This is Bees, and I'm coming back to you with another episode of D6 Transformers, the unofficial role playing game, created by our good friend, the High King. Yes, the High King. When you're looking for a homebrew for Transformers, look for the High King. The link to this PDF is in the first couple of videos. If I can figure out how to do it again, I will try and link it back up in the next couple of videos. We are in Chapter 5. Chapter 5, the fifth chapter, the greatest chapter. And we are on character creation walkthroughs. We already did a Class 1, then a Class 2, and now a Class 3. This is Torque. Again, excellent, excellent artwork here. In MS Paint, that is not sarcasm. He really does an amazing job. So this is the helicopter Torque, the Autobot helicopter. And okay, let's see what he did here. First thing he did is decide he wanted to play an Autobot helicopter, or at least make one for the, PDF for the homebrew. So Torque is a laborer and combat engineer. That's the character that he's trying to put together first. That's what right here. We're aiming for him to be able to lift heavy loads even while flying. So you take your 18 dice, you distribute them, and this is how THK put it together. 3 dex, 3 mechanical, 5D strength, and 3D perception. And everything else is 2D. 2D knowledge, 2D technical. Does that add up to 18? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We're at 18 dice, folks. Yay! All right. Skills are determined. So he goes through the whole skill multiplication thing we covered in the last chapter. And these are the skills he chose. You can pause the screen and look at them if you really, really want to. Yeah. Notice how he took Helo Evasion Operation. It helps to actually be able to drive the thing you turn into. Sorry. Sarcasm. Yeah. 5D Strength, he only took 5 skills, but that's all you can do. Alright. This is what he did for improvement. So he's got 7 dice to play around with for improvement. Remember, you can buy 3 specializations at the price of 1D, or you can take 1D and split it into 3 pips. That's plus 1 to an individual skill. That's what a pip is plus 1 to an individual skill. All right. He improved dodge. He improved his integrated weapon system, rotary blades. Did he? That's under dexterity. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, melee. Integrated weapon system melee. I was wondering what that meant. Integrated weapon system ranged. 3D plasma beam. Phased plasma beam. 4D. Couldn't just say laser. All right. Phased plasma beam. It could be a plasma injector. I don't know. Melee weapons. 3D. Swords 4D. Navigation 4D. Helo evasion operation 5D. All right, so that's 3. 1, 2, 3. Excuse me. 3 improvements there. 3 specializations. 2 points into dodge. That's 3 of your 7 dice at that point. Navigation goes up by 2 dice. So again, that is 5 of your dice. And Helo evasion operation is brought to 5D, and that's your last 2 dice. It adds up to 7. Made his character right. Boy, that was simple, wasn't it? So, Class 3 Cybertronians. You start with 3 points in every integrated category except for special abilities. Remember, it costs 3 of your other categories. It's a 3-to-1 ratio to get another special ability, and it is a 1-to-3 ratio to take that special ability die and put it into a different category. So if you got rid of all your special abilities, you would get an additional 3 points to put into one of the other categories. Something to think about. So what he did is he took 1 point out of integrated weapons energon consuming, and 1 point out of integrated weapons fuel consuming, or as I've been saying, ammo consuming. 1 point out of physical state weapons to gather 3 points to get a second special ability. He left 3 points in his extended payload. He left his 3 points in his tool systems. That's interesting. Let's see how he put it together. Oh, if you want to, he does this read through here that I didn't read through on the other ones, but it actually isn't that bad to read through these. These are kind of fun. Torque has integrated weapon systems that do 2D Class 3 Cybertronian damage. His wrist-mounted phased energy beam is an energy-consuming weapon that he uses for clearing construction debris, or Decepticons. He also packs a spread weapon, the dreaded shoulder-mounted plasma wave gun that has an area effect. The plasma wave gun is fuel-consuming. Rotary blades from helicopter form can be dual-wielded as swords that the young Autobot has wisely devoted, with 2 slots for physical state weaponry, along with years of familiarizing himself with the blades he feels are now extensions of his arms. I don't think I put the emphasis on the right part of that sentence. He has 3, sorry guys, bad joke. He has 3 slots for extra payload at Class 3, in which he carries a pulse rifle and an Autobot Defender blade. He looks up to Optimus Prime and feels that the payload choices that served the Autobot commander for so long should serve for him as learning from great experience. Torque chose job-related tool systems, construction, recon, and demolition, and for special abilities, the magnetic force and tempered weapons special abilities help him do the job and in combat. Help him on the job and in combat. So magnetic force allows him to stick to stuff, and tempered weapons improves the damage his physical state weapon will do by tapping into his energon supply. Let's see what construction, recon, and demolition tool sets do for him. What is it? Oop, we just passed it. Tool package. Construction. Laser welder, power servos, laser cutter. What page are we on? 59. All right, cool. Recon is down here. Macro enhancer helps us see farther away. Signal flares and caltrops. What was the first one? Construction. Laser welder. That's so two kinds of laser cutters, though the welder actually can combine stuff. Power servos, which helps with his lifting. And I forget what the other ability was, tool was that he chose. Doobie doobie doo. That's still GOAT. Here's torque. And demolition. So we're going to go ahead and just put in 59. Demolitions. Structural integrity computer. Remember, it's the only comp that gives you 2D and a skill instead of 1D. 500-meter remote line, so he can detonate remotely, and a wire assembly tool. Nice. Not bad at all. I don't think we were this far down. Nope. Oh, just a little bit farther back up, I think. Yep. All right. So, step 4 in character creation, determine movement adjustments. Torque is a Class 3 Transformer who, when in robot form, stands about 28 feet in height. His weight is approximately 8,400 pounds. His tactical movement speed is 40. That's 40 meters per 5 seconds. Human characters would have to run all out in order to keep up with his normal walking speed, and can run all out at about 160 meters per round. His top speed in vehicle form is 150 miles per hour, or a move of 333, which ain't bad for a helicopter. Not, Apache speeds, but, or maybe it is, I don't know. I'd have to look it up, and frankly, I don't want to. Someone can look it up and tell me in the comments down below if an Apache helicopter can go faster than 150 miles per hour. All right, so this is going to go over everything we just saw here. Again, his rank is 3, which is the average of all your skills. And you're just seeing it. You can pause it if you really want to go over it, but this is basically what you're character sheet can look like. Um, we could, mock up a different character sheet that has like fancy squares and everything on it. That looks more like what West End Games put out, back in '87 or whatever. But this works. I mean, I can read everything. He went ahead and bolded the attributes like dexterity or knowledge, and then the skills are listed underneath. You got to look for a colon if you colon. You have to look for a colon if you want to find the specializations: rotary blades, plasma phased weapon beam, phased plasma beam. Yeah, and Schwartz. May the Schwartz be with you. Pick Schwartz. Sorry. So he gets his moves down here. He gets his energon supply is 100. That's pretty standard. Existing armor is 5d plus 1d against physical attacks and 5d plus 2 against energy attacks because his strength is 5d. And yeah, goes through his weapons. Phased energy beam 2d. Phased plasma wave gun area effect 15 shots 2d. Class 3 scale. Rotary blades strength plus 2d, basically a sword. Pulse rifle 5d class 3 scale 50 shots. Autobot defender blade strength plus 3d. His notice how his EP weapons are actually more powerful than his integrated weapons are right now. But he can improve all of that as he plays the game, as the character develops. And then we already looked at the 3 tools, and again, magnetic force allows you to stick to things, and tempered increases his damage at the cost of energon for his Autobot defender blade or his rotary blades, which is strength plus 2d. So that's all been standard Autobots. The following example to come are for Decepticons, Combiners, Junkions, Dinobots, and he was tempted to do Quintessons, but he never got around to it. Frankly, I've never actually gotten around to developing Quintessons stats, but I know how I'd do it. But here we go. So the next character is going to be a Decepticon, so we'll read through this. Understanding the principles of assigning attributes and skills under the attributes, followed by weapons, tools, and special ability picks, is about 90% of the battle when it comes to character creation. The other 10% is in understanding how Decepticons differ from Autobots. Remember that Decepticon loses 1 tool slot for the ability of robot flight. Decepticons were built for conquest. See, I don't do that. I don't do the robot flight thing. I already told you guys about that back in Chapter 2. But we're going to talk about how he does it. Decepticons were built for conquest and warfare. Few of them, that robot flight thing, sorry, it's such a G1 thing, and it's only for the cartoon. It was not in the comics. Not that the Autobots were flying all over the place. They didn't have flying forms, but Jetfire, for instance, was not restricted by that, or Power Glide, or even Swoop later on. Alright, Decepticons were built for conquest and warfare. Few of them were ever artisans, engineers, or anything but warriors before the war, and not many of them ever seemed to follow pursuits other than warfare and the gaining of power since the war. In my continuity, I applied that especially to the Seekers, or the Viacons, but that's a whole other thing. Also, most of the people who rebelled in the Decepticon rebellion were members of the army, so they already had a military background. This may seem like an overpowering advantage, the ability of flight and combat in or out of transformation, but in some ways it's not. Autobots have the choice of having an extra point for tools or switching it over to something else. Decepticons don't have that choice of having that extra point for tools. In fact, Class 1 Decepticons have to borrow from integrated weaponry, payload, or physical state weapons to gain tool packages at all. Alright, so Snake Pit is more of a war helicopter. Well, if you look back up here at Torque, he is more of a lifting helicopter. A non-combat helicopter. And you'll see the weapons coming out from the helicopter's wings here. So yeah. Snake Pit probably wouldn't have volunteered for a full breakdown of his schematics to be brought before characters, most likely wanting to play Autobot characters. Alright, I'm going to stop. it's a fun read, and he writes it as if Snake Pit was a real character, and I like it. But I'm just gonna leave it here for a second. You can pause it. You can read through it on your own. Yeah. All right. So he's going to take his 1D, I'm sorry, his 18D, and he's going to build up his attributes. Remember, he's a warrior, um, but he isn't overpoweringly suited for attacks. I'm reading this sentence right here. His job is to report on enemy activity because he does reconnaissance and make it back to Megatron alive. So, this isn't a bad build. 4 dex, 4 mechanical, 3 strength. So he did a 4-4-3-3-2-2. Okay. If you add that up, it's 18, but it's 4-4-3-3-2-2. It's a classic for D6 aficionados. You got 2 attributes that are your 2 highest, what you want your character to specialize in, which in Snake Pit's case is flying and shooting while he's on the ground. The 2 attributes you want him to be okay in, which is perception, which is, talking to people and interacting with people, and in regular West End games, sneaking around, and my games. And then strength is the other one. He wants him to be tough. And then his dump stats are, his dump stats are knowledge and technical. So he's not that bright. He's not stupid, but he's not that bright, and he's not that good building stuff or doing medical work or working on a computer. All those wonderful technical skills we covered back in chapter 2, 3, 2. I don't know. Back when we already covered it though. So now we're determining skills. Goes through his whole thing here. Picked out the skills he wanted him to have. You'll notice that he doesn't have as big of a focus on. So this is integrated weapon system ranged. He doesn't choose integrated weapon system melee. He just chooses melee weapons. So I'm guessing, without having memorized these stats, yes, I've read it before, but I haven't memorized it. I'm taking a look ahead. I'm guessing he's going to take all of his points out of physical state weaponry, or PSW, out of the integrated systems, because he doesn't improve the skill at all. Again, he takes navigation under knowledge, so it's harder to get lost. Mechanical, helo, evasion operation. Vehicle weapons, of course. Yeah. Beast riding. That's an odd choice. Don't get me wrong, it's also beast handling. It's just an odd choice for a transformer. Kind of stands out. Perception, pretty standard stuff. Strength, pretty standard stuff. Technical, computer operation repair, demolitions, energy weapon repair, and primitive construction. Primitive construction. Again, weird choice for a reconnaissance bot. Not a bad one, but odd. Yeah. I don't use primitive construction. I just use survival under knowledge, but that's me. I would have had first aid instead of that. Oh well. It's his character. He can build it however he likes to, and as long as he's having a good time, I'm happy for him. So he's got 70 in skills to pick, and we're going to have to go over the page break for this. So he improves dodge by 2, so now he's down to 5 skill. He improved his ranged weapon, specifically a rotator laser with a specialization. So that's a third of a point. So he's at 2 1/3 points. Rockets. Where are rockets under? Mechanical, maybe? Huh. He doesn't actually write down rockets anywhere. I think I caught a typo, King. Yeah. Well, maybe I'm just not seeing it. No, let's go over it. It would be either under mechanical or dex. So dodge, hide, IWSR, melee weapons. Oh, I see what he's doing here. No, I don't. Yes, I do. So his integrated weapon integrated weapon system ranged, he's got 2 specializations. One is rotator laser, and one is rockets. Then, for his ranged energy weapons, which is a different skill, he's got the specialization null ray brought up to 5D. So those are his 3 specializations. That was worth 1 of his points. He's down to 4 points left. Puts 1 point into navigation, so he's above average in that skill. Excuse me. Oh. And then he puts 2 points into helo evasion operation, no points into vehicle weapons, odd choice, and 1 point into investigation. Nice. All right, so his integrated weapons, energy consuming. He leaves. Now, this is a class 2 Decepticon, so he starts off with 2 points in all the skills and 1 point in special abilities. Remember, with class 2s, it's a 2-to-1 buy-in for special abilities and vice versa. We just talked about that with Torque. Let me take a sip of water here. All right. What is going on here? So he leaves 2 points in IWEC, 2 points in IWFC, fuel consumer, ammo consuming, 1 point in PSW, 1 point in EP, 1 point in tools, and he's only got 2 special abilities. Oh, I see what he's doing here. I see what he's doing here. All right, so he put ITS, Integrated Tool Systems, at -1 at 1D. I'm sorry, at 1 point. And he's not in this adjust the above. He does not include robot flight in it. That's fine. So we'll see it. You'll see it when he tells you his choices. So, Snake Spit has an integrated weapon systems that do 2D class 1 Cybertronian damage. He has 1 slot for physical. Has 2 integrated weapon systems that do 2D class 1. He's a class 1? I thought he was a class 2. I thought he was a class 2. Let's take a look at his. Let's skip ahead a second here. Class. Let's look at his height. 22 feet. Yeah, he's a class 2. Caught a typo, buddy. Why didn't I catch this back in 2008 when you were putting this together the first time? All right. That do 2D class 1 Cybertronian damage. They actually do 4D class 1 damage. He has 1 slot for physical state weaponry. He has 1 slot for extra payload at class 2 level. No. Why is he saying class 2, class 1 Cybertronian? Maybe he is a class 1. Except he's 22 feet tall, and Cybertronians aren't that big. And these stats are class 2 stats. What is going on? Oh, I know what he did. He copied and pasted this and changed stuff and forgot to change that. How much you want to bet? If I could find him, I'd give him, I'd ask him about this. Give him a little, give him a little hell. There you go. Okay. He chooses an integrated rotator laser integrated in his right arm that does 2D and damage to a single target. He also has a shoulder-mounted rockets that do 2D and class 2 scale damage to an area. That's the fuel-consuming ones. He has the option to carry a single null ray, his choice, but prefers to have at least 1 powerful weapon that can be used without tapping into his special abilities. How is he carrying it? How could a null ray only take up? Okay. What page are we at? 88. Remember 88, everybody. We're going back up to 55 or 57, I'm guessing. It was 55. What do you know? Null Ray only takes up one spot at 4D damage and only takes up one spot. All right, I guess that's fair. The ion pistol does 4D damage and only takes up one spot. But the rifle does 5D damage and takes up 2 spots. That null ray is a little bit better than everything else in this system, really. That's obnoxious. Well, now you know why I modify it the way I do. Okay, so the null ray takes up 1D of damage, 1 slot of EP. Has the recon tool system and has chosen Charger and Reserve for special abilities, allowing him to have more energon to feed his other special ability, the Charger ability, which adds more power to his blasts, as 2 points of energon are used as opposed to 1 for his integrated rotator laser, adding an extra point of damage to the weapon. Yeah, that's pretty nice, actually. So we'll see all that in the actual character build. I'll stop and show it to you. So he adjusts his speed, and his top speed in vehicle form is 297 miles per hour, or a top speed of 660, or a move of 660. So Snake Spit, Decepticon Scout, male, Cybertronian age, young, rank 3, height 22 feet, 5,500 pounds. And then we covered all these stats already. Movement, we talked about that very briefly, but I can't imagine you guys are particularly super excited about that. We've already covered it back in Chapter 4. Energon supply should be 150, not 100, because he takes the reserve. Where is it? Reserve. Right there. That should be 150. Standard armor, plus 1d against physical attacks, plus 2 against energy attacks, plus his 3d strength. 5 experience points. His disposition numbers, his spark life points starts with 2. Rotator laser 2D, rockets 2D, rotator blades 1D. Pardon me. He's carrying a null ray with 100 shots. He takes the recon pack, which has the signal flares in it, and the macro binoculars, and one other thing I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's at 59. Recon. Caltrops. Man likes his caltrops. And yeah. Robot flight, charger, and reserve. Not bad. Okay. Hunk Junk is a class 2 transformer. Okay, now he's going into Junkions. So why is he going into the stats of Hunk Junk immediately? Weird. Ba weep grana weep ninibong. He is a class 2 transformer. 19 feet high. So he doesn't go through all the choices he made. That's why he's going through it now. Top speed in vehicle form is 200 miles per hour. He's actually faster than Torque. Turns into a motorcycle. Has a motorcycle axle axe. How exciting. Okay, so stats are going to be the same. I mean, they're different for every character, but it's the same process, so he doesn't go over choosing the stats again as far as attributes and skills go. The vehicle stuff, the movement speed is here, and yeah. Energon supply is 100 plus 50 reserve for Hunk Junk. Existing armor is his 2d strength plus 1d against physical attacks and plus 2 against energy attacks. 5 experience points, 2 life points like always. Now look here. He gets rid of all of his integrated weapon, all of his integrated weapon ranged weapons, both energon consuming and fuel consuming, to put 1 additional point, so that's 4 points for a class 3, 2 in each. I'm sorry, for a class 2, 2 in each. So he puts 1 point into physical state weapons, bringing it to 3. So now his axe does 3d damage, strength plus 3d damage, so 5d damage. And his EP, he chooses a junk blaster, which I have to assume is some kind of basically like a railgun. But hopefully he'll tell us about it down here. He takes the mimicry tool system, which we'll go back to page 59 and see what that is. I assume it is similar to what Soundwave and Blaster used to do. Mimicry. Here it is. Digital recorder. Yeah, I called it. Amplifier and scrambler. I forget what the scrambler does. But let's see if we can find them here. I'm looking for the scrambler, the recorder, and the amplifier. Okay. Right next to each other. Digital recorder. Records sounds, use them for fun, distract, humiliate, or terrify your enemies. Also confuse. 8 hours of record time. Recorded sounds can have decibels boosted to the point of annoyance, and possibly as a weapon. May cause avalanches or for organics to cup their ears and robots to cup their audio receptors. So, used properly, the amplifier will actually act as a stun effect. But we talked about that at some earlier point. I think chapter 3, maybe? Or, no, we haven't talked about it yet. It's up in combat, which is chapter 6, which is the next and final chapter. And then the scrambler allows a character to modify a digital recording. Okay, nice combo. So not only can he record your sound, he can turn it around and make it sound like you said something you didn't like. My voice is my passport. Verify me. Okay. Back to page 89. Pretty cool. So he's got Decepticon robot flight. Nope, that's Snake's Pit. Sorry. Back to Hunk Junk, page 91. So he's got Mimicry, Junked 2. So he picked 3 special abilities. So one of these became his special ability, an extra special ability. So those 2 became his 2 extra special abilities. He got rid of 1 tool set and threw that into physical state weapons. Boom, that's how he did his. Because normally, before he modified it, this read 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1. And now it reads 0, 0, 3, 2, 1, 3. Hopefully you guys are following along on how that works nowadays. So Junked 2 is the super regenerative thing that only Junkions can get. And you can pick up to 2 picks of it. Alright. We're going to read through this. Hunk Junk is made the same way a Class 2 Transformer is made. Since there are 2 examples already, we can go right to the nitty-gritty. Skills are selected, extra dice are assigned, specializations are added, but the robot's emphasis on certain skills and weapons is very dramatic, as well as the special abilities. With Hunk Junk, there are no energy weapons, both as carries or integrated. The 2 main weapons are a junk gun, which is a conventional pistol, more or less a junk musketoon, a very large one, and an axe fitted into his forward motorcycle wheel. He can wield it and throw it with professional accuracy. Also, when figuring Junked, he shouldn't be able to throw physical state weapons, but whatever. It's his system. I wouldn't allow you to throw physical state weapons. They're part of your body. Doobie. Also, in figuring junked energon expenditures, the Junkion has a large reserve of energon to keep him healthy in long, dragged-out battles. He has 0 drain on his energon except for walking around, which every Transformer does, and his junked ability. So, basically, this guy is somebody who can regen. He's got excellent regen. If we were putting this in D&D terms or other, even my D6 superhero terms, he's got a healing factor. That's what Junked is giving him, is the capacity to heal himself. The attributes of the Hunk Junk are the specifications. Yeah. So he can wield it. Yeah. And he went for 150 points of energon, so he can definitely keep healing himself through long, dragged-out battles. His selection of mimicry toolkit allows him to record voices, mainly for reciting TV lines, emulate voices, and gives him advantages in speaking alien languages. Yes, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go. The Transformers, the movie, the original, is on YouTube. Go take a look at it, or at least the Junkion scene. Oh, man. Operators are standing by. Anyway, his perception is average, his strength is fairly unremarkable, but that's okay, even for a Junkion warrior. The way a player can figure is that Hunk Junk may go down, but it is impossible to keep him down for long with his special ability of Junked 2. Since no energon is expended with integrated weaponry or other special abilities, his entire reserve is ready to assist him in putting him back together. Yeah, he's scary looking. Junkions are scary looking, hence his disposition numbers. Okay. Let's see what time we're at here. I've been talking at you for 35 minutes. Let's do my favorite thing of... Oops. Oopsie daisy. Let's do my favorite thing of all here. And we'll do Dinobots. The Dinobot Bash. Creation of a Dinobot. The not-so-mechanically inclined war machines. So there's three major drawbacks. You can't have more than 1d plus 2 in 3 attributes. And those are mechanical, technical, and knowledge. So these are the rules for making a Dinobot. Drawback number 2. You can't have any tools as a Dinobot. And I like the line here. Tools would only confuse a Dinobot. In fact, tools would make the Dinobots assume they could build something, which would be horrible. And rule number 3. Dinobots are about as fast as they are smart. This means they can't move very fast at all. Whether in Dinobot or dinosaur form, they move at the same speed. In other words, some cars, motorcycles, boats, and especially jets can move hundreds of miles an hour. Dinobots move at their all-out running pace, whether in Dinobot or robot form. There's some leeway there, but in story-wise, like when I made SWAT my Dinobot, when he got triple changer and was able to turn into a Deinonychus, however it's pronounced, like a velociraptor, but real. Not that velociraptors weren't real, but the way they're portrayed in the Jurassic Park movies, they're more like Deinonychus. All right. So when I did that, I was a Class 3 Transformer that took microchanger, and I could now transform into a Class 1 Deinonychus, and a very small Class 1 Deinonychus, with all the strength of a Class 3 Dinobot. Anyway, in doing that, he reduced my speed even farther, so I only had I was a little bit faster than a human. I think I had a 15 base speed instead of 10 for a human, which is a lot lower than my 40 base speed as a Class 3. All right, now you got 3 drawbacks. You have 3 advantages, though. Dinobots can only have a maximum of 1d plus 2 in knowledge, technical, and mechanical, which means they have to put the rest of those points somewhere else. And it turns out the other 3 attributes, perception, strength, and dexterity, are the ones that govern combat for all Dinobots. Yeah, the mechanical is also governs combat when you're flying in a plane or in a car, but Dinobots don't do that, do they? No, they don't. So that means if you want to, it is not particularly hard to create what I created with SWAT, which I remember was 60 strength, 60 dexterity. So that's 12 of my dice. I put 1 die each in knowledge, technical, and mechanical, so that is now 15 of my 18 dice, which left me with 3d for perception, which isn't bad. Isn't bad at all, really. It's above average. All my perception skills were above average. So, yeah. He was pretty much a combat machine. So again, no tools for the Dinobots, but what to do with the character creation points for the tools. So, you can... It's not a disadvantage, really. It's just kind of a rule. Like he says 3 major... What does he say up here? 3 major drawbacks. 3 major drawbacks. 3 major bonuses. So, yeah. You can add to your physical state weapons, you can add to your integrated weapons, or you can grab another special ability. I grabbed another special ability. SWAT had super strength and quadranium armor 2. He had one integrated weapon that did very little damage, and those were his laser eyes. I got rid of his EP. Did I get? Yeah, I got rid of his EP. I should have just kept his EP and not given him any integrated weapons. He really didn't need them. I mean, he really didn't need them. That he was a beast, which is obvious for a Dinobot. Now, here's the gigantic bonus. Pay attention, folks. With the cost of losing out on speed, like most Autobots and Decepticons seem to enjoy, the Dinobots, when transformed into dinosaur form, change their class size for the figuring of damage resistance. Damage dealt with hand-to-hand attacks, and their intimidation skill increases from its base an additional 4D. So, a Class 2 Dinobot, when transformed who has an intimidation of 2D, okay, so here's the deal. When you transform into a dinosaur, you go up one class size for damage resistance, damage dealt, melee damage dealt, and your intimidation skill increases by an additional 4D. You are scary as a hamster. No. You are scary as a dinosaur when you're in dinosaur mode. Yeah. So if you were playing a class 3 like I was, and you transform into a Quetzalcoatl, which was actually just a class 2 animal, largest flying creature in the history of the planet, and it's still only a class 2. You actually were ridiculously powerful as a class 2. I still got the bonus. I still went up to class. So as a class 3, when you transform into a Dinobot, into your dinosaur form as a Dinobot, and only as a Dinobot, you go up a class size in damage. So I went to class 4. I didn't just get plus 2D, I went to class 4. So as a Dinobot, even when I transformed into the tiny Deinonychus, I was still doing class 4 damage and mitigating damage as a class 4, as a Gestalt. Plus I had super strength, plus I had quadranian armor, plus I had 60 strength, plus I had 60 dex. I was a devastating creature. Devastating. Tiny little thing. Not much bigger than a human being. And hit like I was Metroplex. Yeah, this is a little broken. This is a little broken. It's not very broken. It's easy to fix. You integrate 2 more class sizes in between class 3 and class 4 that are 2D bigger, and you're good to go. But that was not a fix he made, and I took advantage of it. I keep telling you guys I like to break the game. So yeah, he even covers it here. In their class 3 Transformers in dinosaur mode, all of the original Dinobots are. Even Swoop. And they're class 4 for figuring damage and taking punishment. And this is why Megatron doesn't go hand-to-hand against Grimlock. The guy may have a hard time with pronoun usage, but he can cause some serious problems, even for the nearly indestructible Megatron. So he's going to build a Ankylosaurus Dinobot called Bash. So, he's a class 2 Dinobot. He's smaller than most Dinobots as a class 2, but for some reason he's more loyal, not prone to fits of rage and smashing anyone who is perceived as weaker. He's also a little bit smarter, or at least has more potential to learn skills than some of the earlier Dinobots. When transformed into his dinosaur form, he becomes a class 3 robotic ankylosaur that can take a heck of a pounding for the size of the robot's frame, and it can deal out a hefty tail bashing, especially for the robot's size. So, character creation is easy, since there isn't likely to be any more than 2 mechanical, technical, and knowledge skills. Like the Decepticon Snake Pit, character creation is pretty much done along the same guidelines as what was done with Goat. The only thing that would differ is the restriction on attributes and the loss of all tool points and acknowledgement of when he transforms, he's class 3. So here's the build. This is the first, and not the only time, we'll see it with the Gestalt as well, but this is the first time you see him using pluses in the attributes. Notice that he has a strength of 5d plus 2. I think that's the highest of any of the characters he creates in the guide. All right. Looking good. So you see the points he's taken here, or the skills he's improved here. You can add them up. I've done this a couple of times. It works out. Okay. So the 7D are added in. So it's 60 and a special and 3 specializations. Now those points are added in. And there you go. Completed Dinobot Bash. So, Dinobot Warrior, male, Cybertronian, 21 feet, 52, 50 pounds. All the stats, all the skills and attributes we were looking at. 5 experience points, disposition numbers, 2 life sparks. Got rid. So he's class 2. So it should read 222221. Instead it reads 042202. So he took his integrated weapons energon consuming, zeroed it out, put 1 point into special abilities. Okay. No, let's just go down the line. He put those 2 points into Napalm Nostrils, which is basically a grenade launcher. 4d damage. Kept his points in PSW, physical state weapons, for an Ankylosaur tail, strength class 3 plus 2d damage. Kept his extended payload for I guess Napalm Nostrils are flamethrower breath, maybe? We'll see in a minute. Took a grenade launcher with 10 grenades, 5d class 2. No tools, because he's a Dinobot. And he took robot flight and quadritanium skin, which is why up here in the armor he's 5d plus 2 strength, plus either 3d against physical attacks or 2d plus 2 against energy attacks. Bash is a class 2 transformer who, when in robot form, stands about 21 feet in height. His weight, yeah, he covers all this. His melee weapons are figured in with his strength being a class 3. So for hand-to-hand combat damage and or the usage of his tail as a melee weapon or as a tail, Bash is figured at 5d plus 2 for hand-to-hand and 5d plus 2 plus 2 plus 2d for the Ankylosaur tail. This is figured as 7d plus 2 class 3 damage, 9d plus 2 class 2 damage, 11d plus 2 class 1 damage, and 13d plus 2 human scale damage. In robot form, his melee attacks are 5d plus 2 and 7d plus 2 for the tail club. For his attacks, he still rolls as a class 2. Just so you know. So, just because he's transformed into a class 3 transformer doesn't mean he starts rolling as a class 3 dinosaur. He still rolls as a class 2 dinosaur. Go back to the scale thing we talked about, and there's a chart on it in chapter 4. Damage resistance is figured out 5d plus 2 plus 3d for physical and plus 2d plus 2 for energy damage. So when he's in robot mode, when he's in dinosaur mode, that goes up by 2d. That's nice. That's very nice. That's 8d plus 2 physical, 8d plus 1, or 7d plus 2 energy. Anyway, he goes through it all. Yeah. Dinosaurs are very powerful. And I like them. I think I'm going to do human, and then I'm going to call it a night, and we'll try and finish this chapter the next time. I don't allow Dinobots in most of my games because they don't fit most of the settings I've created, but I do like them. I like them a lot. They're a little bit game breaking. They're a lot game breaking. Um, I know because I broke the game with mine. But yeah, they're good characters. They fit what they're supposed to do. They match up with the G1. He really created something that works. Um, and they're dumb as rocks. I love them. All right. They don't have to be. You can actually move your points around. Like, um, just because you're limited to 1D plus 2 as a maximum doesn't mean you have to. Your skills can go above that. Look right here. Knowledge goes to 2D plus 1. Where is his technical? Technical, he improved his demolitions to 2D plus 2. So he really likes primitive construction. All right. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Playing a Dinobot is even more fun. Assuming you like to smash things. All right, let me take one more sip of water, and we'll knock this out. She's not G.I. Joe. She's not the daughter of some Special Forces general. On the other hand, she'd probably kick the living daylights out of Spike Wiki. I created a starting character who is a high school athlete, part of the rifle club, does archery, does fairly well in school, participates in gymnastics, and has done gymnastics for years. Is naturally dexterous and perceptive, and above average technical aptitude. Below is the basics. So he's not going through how he assigned her attributes, but assigning human attributes is only slightly different than assigning transformer attributes. With your human, remember, you have a minimum of 2D and a maximum of 4D in any attribute. That's the main difference. So you can't do 5D strength on a human. You can't do 5D technical on a human. Or even 6D or 8D or 10D. Or technically, I guess you could make a transformer that had... So there's 6 skills, so 13D and 1 skill and 1 attribute. I'm sorry, there's 6 attributes, so technically you could do 13D and 1 attribute and 1D and the other 5 attributes for 18D. Don't do that. Well, maybe you want to. If you enjoy it, and your game master is cool with it, go nuts. But that's up to you guys. So, her name is Alicia Barnes. Nice name. To be fair, he put this together before Captain America, the first Avenger, came out. So Bucky Barnes, he might have known him from the Winter Soldier comics, but I kind of doubt it. He might have known him from the 1940s when he was Bucky comics, but I kind of doubt it. I think he just liked the name Alicia Barnes. Unless this was an edition after that movie came out, which I guess it could have been. Affiliation. Autobots. Doesn't know any of them yet, but would certainly help them against the Decepticons if called upon. Gender. Female. Age. 17 and a half. Rank. High school junior. All right. Height. 5'2". Weight. 115 pounds. Dex. 4D. Knowledge. 2D. Mechanical. 2D. Perception, 4D. Strength, 3D. Technical, 3D. And, yeah, she's even so technically inclined, she actually has engineering as one of her skills already. Movement of 10. No existing armor. Experience points, 5. Disposition numbers, 887. Life points, 2. Special abilities, acrobatic. Remember, humans can start with 1 to 2 special abilities, depending on how generous your game master is feeling. Alicia can add 7D to her existing skills, which she does. And you can see those skills there. She's decent with a rifle. She's decent with a bow and arrow. Well, she's better than professional level with both. So 4D is... I don't know if I covered this. I'm pretty sure I did. 1D is below average. 2D is average. 3D is above average. 4D is professional level. 5D is pretty darn good. So yeah, Improved sneak, hide, and dodge, which are really good ideas when dealing with Transformers as a human. Uh, and again, you're going to see this quite often. People like choosing the 443322. I'm a big for their attributes. I'm a big fan of 433332. Is that right? 433332. Yeah. Um, Other people like 3D all the way down, averaging it out, but to each their own. And it depends on what kind of character I'm playing, because I'll also min-max, which I may have mentioned repeatedly throughout this entire review. So she slims down on knowledge and mechanical. She's got 4D in perception, 4D in dexterity, and 3D in strength, 3D in technical. Not bad. She improves her shooting abilities, run, hide, sneak, dodge, uh, improves her driving skill and her beast riding skill for some reason. I guess she likes horses. Or maybe she'll be riding Bash, the ankylosaur. I don't know. Improved her acrobatics and technical. So the acrobatic skill allows you to add your climb jump to your dodge roll. So that special ability right there means she's going to be rolling for her dodge, which is 5D already. When she's dodging, doing an acrobatic dodge, she can add 4D to that for a 9D dodge at human scale, which is 2D, which gives her a 2D bonus against Class 1, a 4D bonus for her dodge against Class 2, and a 6D bonus for her dodge against Class 3. She's going to be hard to grab. Yeah. Improved first aid. Yeah, decent build. All right. Her move is a standard move of 10. No armor. I already covered all this. Doesn't have an exosuit, but an exosuit, building somebody an exosuit is the equivalent of building them as a Class 1 Transformer. The exosuit makes up all the difference there. Notice she doesn't have any integrated weaponry, payload, or anything that robots usually rely on. Instead, she has to carry equipment. Equipment, cell phone, purse. 2008, 2009, 2010. We had no idea that smartphones were going to become huge. 2008 was really the first year of the smartphone, though. I think 2007 is when the iPhone debuted. When did the iPhone come out? That doesn't matter. We can look it up later. Or somebody down in the comments can tell us below. So she's got $100. She has a purse, a cell phone, a can of mace with 5D stunning, capacitation to biological targets, range of 5 meters. That 15 feet, that's about right. Has access to her mother's purse, which contains a compact 357 Magnum, 5 rounds. No reload, huh? 4D plus 2 human scale damage with some range there, and keys to a 1998 Ford Taurus. Considering this is around 2008, that is a 10-year-old car. Certainly not enough to stare down a Decepticon, but with some determination helping Autobots in need, that may change. So this is just an above-average high school student, not too different from Michaela. That's where he got Barnes from. Alicia Barnes and Michaela Baines. Michaela Baines is the Megan Fox character from the first and second Transformer movies. That's what he based it off of. You sneaky Pete. All right. Fair enough. Next up is Insecticons, which will be for next time. The Insecticon Pilfer. And then we're going to cover how to build a Gestalt, which your crew may want to, your players may want to actually play as 5, or even if you only have 3 characters that are part of a Gestalt team, and you can play the other 2. Or maybe you have 5 players and they decide they want to be part of a Gestalt team, and he covers how to do that here. And that should get us through chapter... Nope. Exosuit, Target Masters, and Headmasters. So I'll probably do the Insecticon and the Gestalt next time, and then Headmasters and Humans and Exosuits after that. And yeah, I think I'm going to call it a night because I can feel it in my voice. I've been talking for too long. And here's Alicia Baines, not I'm sorry, Alicia Barnes, not Michaela Baines. Oh, I know that's what he did. Oh, I wish I could get back in contact with him so I could give him a little bit of a hard time about that. All right, boys and girls, thank you, truckers, for trucking along with me through this. Hopefully, someone out there is going to enjoy this or view this one of these days. And keep on trucking, you blam blam truckers.